Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending the Mayor's Commission on Disabilities 39th Annual Award Breakfast. I'm Melissa Campbell, the TIF Program Coordinator with the City of Hammond's Economic Development Department, and I am honored to be your MC for today. I'd like to thank our signer for today, Kiva Worley from Trade Winds, and we would also like to thank Reverend David Robinson for providing the lovely music. So please stand, if you are able, for the colors in place by the Hammond Victory Post 168, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance by Commander Ernie Dillon and the National Anthem by Connor Cafferini.
On my count of 2, please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. 1, 2. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Goes. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proud we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars thrill the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
That was beautiful. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you all. And thank you again for attending the Mayor's Commission on Disabilities 39th Annual Award Breakfast. Now I'd like to introduce the Vice President of the Mayor's Commission on Disabilities, Elena Magallanes.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's so great to see everyone here today. Despite the crazy weather, we have a packed house. So thank you. It's with immense pleasure and pride that I stand before you today at the 39th Annual Disabilities Award Breakfast, sponsored by the Mayor's Commission on Disabilities for the City of Hammond. What a momentous occasion this is, as we gather to celebrate the remarkable achievements and unwavering dedication of individuals who are making a profound difference in the lives of people with disabilities. For 39 years, this breakfast has served as a beacon of recognition, illuminating the tireless efforts of those who champion inclusion, accessibility, and empowerment. Today, we continue that tradition, honoring some exceptional community members whose contributions have truly enriched the quality of lives in our city. We are here not just to acknowledge their accomplishments, but to express our heartfelt gratitude for their commitment to building a more inclusive and equitable Hammond. Each of our award recipients has demonstrated extraordinary resilience, innovation, and compassion, and their stories are a true testament to the power of the human spirit. As we present these awards, please know that each recipient will also receive a wonderful gift basket as a small token of our appreciation for their immense contributions. Beyond the awards, we are thrilled to hold a space for some local resources, which is an opportunity for everyone to connect, learn, and discover many resources that empower individuals with disabilities and their families in the city of Hammond and Northwest Indiana. We're also incredibly fortunate to have two exceptional speakers today, Jessica Witherspoon and Tony Modulin. Their insights and experiences will undoubtedly inspire us all as we continue to work towards a more inclusive society. This breakfast is a celebration of progress and reaffirmation of our commitment to creating a city where everyone, regardless of their ability, can thrive. Let us embrace the spirit of unity and collaboration as we honor the remarkable individuals who make Hammond a truly inclusive and welcoming community. Thank you for being here, and let us begin the celebration.
Thank you, Elena. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce the leader of our beautiful city, Mayor Thomas M. McDermott, Jr.
Thank you, Melissa. Whoa, excuse me. Morning, everybody. Caught 2 trains on the way here. Anybody else this morning? There you go. I wanted to start off and say thank you to the elected officials in attendance. And it's not very often we get our congressman to come to the Disabilities Breakfast. I know he's very busy in Washington, D.C., and thankfully he's home now and he decided to visit Hammond this morning. So give it up for Congressman Frank Mervan. I'd also like to thank the other elected officials in attendance, starting with the Hammond City Councilman at large, Dan Spitali. Thank you very much, Councilman. Hammond City Councilwoman at large, Janet Venez. Thank you very much. Hammond 6th District Councilman, Scott Rakos. He's a Hammond firefighter, a fire inspector, but he's also a town councilman in the town of Highlands. Give it up for Phil Scaringa, Highland Town Councilman. Hammond's 4th District Councilman, Bill Emerson. We also have former Councilman Anthony Higgs, former Councilman Bob Markovich, and former Councilman Ernie Dillon in attendance as well. Can you give it up for them as well? Thank you. I love this breakfast. The Commission on Disabilities, it's a wonderful breakfast. The whole vibe is always very positive at this. And it amazes me every time that we're celebrating our 39th year. So I do real quick math. 1984. 1984 was the first time Hammond held this breakfast. That was a long time ago. 1984, you didn't see breakfasts like this very typically. You didn't see breakfast celebrating inclusivity, breakfast celebrating, other parts of our community. So I want to give props to the mayor in 1984, who happens to be my father, for thinking about such a great idea that's still going. Thanks. What is a community? Communities, obviously, we work hard on community all the time. The police department's out there making sure our streets are safe. Fire department's making sure we're safe inside. We have people like Public Works that goes out there and plows the streets when we have storms. Of course, that's part of our community. But the biggest part of community is you, the people that live in the community. That's what community is all about. And if we don't have people in community that are willing to step up and help their fellow citizens, what kind of community are we? So 39 years ago, the city of Hammond thought, let's celebrate those leaders, the youth, the adults, the businesses that help lift up others. And it was a great idea 39 years ago. I'm proud to be the mayor of a city that recognizes that all parts of our city are important, and we need to celebrate those that step up and recognize them to encourage other people to step up and help others, because that's what community is all about, right? So I want to say thank you to my dad, who's probably watching on Go Hammond TV right now, and say that was very wise what you did 39 years ago when you put this together. I want to celebrate and thank all the people that worked so hard over the years to keep this breakfast tradition alive. And I want to thank you for being here to a packed house in the Dynasty on a snowy Wednesday morning? Yeah. On a Thursday, gosh, sorry. It's been a long week. On a snowy Thursday morning, and I want to say thank you for being here. God bless you all. Enjoy the breakfast.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, we would like to introduce Sam Petit to play on the piano. I could smell the delicious food. It's coming. Thank you, Sam. That was amazing. Now, please join me in welcoming Deacon Buddy Finney of Mount Zion Baptist Church, who will be leading our invocation today.
Good morning, everyone. To Matt, the president of our Disability Board, to our great mayor, McDermott Jr., for having this on his agenda every year. And to all of you, since the last time I stood here to do the question, I'm a dialysis patient. For 7 months I've been on dialysis. But my prayer is this morning is for everyone that knows someone that's on disability. So open your ears and listen to my prayer. I wrote it down, but it comes from my heart. And since I've been on dialysis, my caregiver is my lovely wife. And when I think about it, it brings tears to my eyes. That when I look around, so many times I stood here and did an vocation. Now I'm disabled. I know how it feels. But I found the scripture in the Bible that I read. It comes from Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 14. And it said, heal us, O Lord, and we will be healed. Save us, and we will be saved. For you are the one we praise. And I went further down there and it said, dear Lord, we come before you seeking healing for our bodies. Please touch us with your divine hand and restore our health. Remove any illness or pain that we are experiencing and strengthen our body physically. We believe in your healing power and trust in your love for us. And thank you for your grace and mercy. Please bless our honorable Mayor McDermott Jr. and bless the food that we are about to receive for the nourishment of our bodies. In Jesus Christ Jesus we do pray. Amen. Amen.
Please continue eating if you have not finished yet, but we will resume the program. We will start the program again with remarks from Matthew Ream, the Charles Nagy Jr. Award winner. Please welcome Matthew.
This is a lot more people than I was expecting. But here I am, and we're all here. Wonderful sunny morning. 2 weeks ago, I was in Colorado for surgery for my hand. During the procedure, I received a nerve block, so I wouldn't feel anything afterwards. It lasted about 48 hours. During that time, I had no control, no sensation, no feeling in my entire arm. I even had to ask the front desk to open my prescription bottles for me. That complete loss of feeling, it took me right back to 456 days ago when my life changed forever. 456 days ago, my world was flipped upside down. I faced almost every obstacle imaginable. Fighting for my life in that wreck for 6 days, undergoing multiple surgeries, relearning how to walk and run, and spending countless hours in physical, occupational, and even mental health therapy. The life I once knew, the life I was once perfectly content with, was suddenly unrecognizable. This past year has opened my eyes to things I have never had to think about before. Things like using grab bars in restrooms and showers, struggling with poorly designed handicap ramps, constantly battling with insurance over every little thing, and even learning how to ask for help when I had to admit I couldn't do something on my own. It has been a long, exhausting journey, one that has tested me in ways I never expected. But through it all, there was one thing that kept me going: the overwhelming support of people from all around the world. While I was in the hospital, I was sent thousands of messages, comments, posts from people I had met, worked with, and crossed paths with. And even complete strangers were sending me prayers, rooting for my recovery and sharing how my story had inspired them. That support gave me the strength to keep pushing forward. And that's when I realized something. Maybe something good could come from this. Yes, the fact that I survived an unsurvivable wreck is already a great thing. But more than that, seeing how my journey has impacted others, how it has given them hope and motivation, that's when I knew I was part of something much bigger than myself. That's why I share my story, why I run 5Ks, why I give speeches, why I do news interviews, and why I use social media to connect with others. Because I want people who are struggling with their physical or mental health to know that they're not alone. They have an advocate who truly understands what it's like to be in the fight of your life. Over the last year, I've been humbled, not just by the challenges I've faced, but by the people I've met and the change I've seen around me. It's an honor to stand here today and accept this award, but this award isn't just for me. It's for every person facing adversity, for every person learning how to navigate life with a disability, for every person fighting to make a better life for themselves despite the odds. There are so many people I want to thank for helping me get here. First and foremost, I want to thank the two men who went fishing that day, Mario Garcia and Navardo de la Torre. Without them, I wouldn't be standing here today. They are the reason I am alive, and I will never be able to thank them enough. I also want to thank the first responders who rescued me, the doctors and nurses who treated me, and the therapists who have worked tirelessly to help me regain my mobility and independence. To my family and friends, and every single person who has supported me along the way, you have no idea what your encouragement has meant to me. I also want to express my gratitude to the City of Hammond and the Mayor's Commission on Disabilities for the incredible outreach and programs they provide. I look forward to working with them to help those in need, to advocate those facing new challenges, and to encourage those who need it most. Lastly, I want to take a moment to acknowledge someone who is just beginning their own journey of recovery, Brianna Castle. She recently experienced a tragedy just like mine, and I ask that you all send your thoughts and prayers her way as she begins the difficult road of healing. The adversity I've faced and continue to face is preparing me for something greater. I truly believe that. This journey is about more than just my own recovery. It's about using my story to help others find their strength in their struggles. If I can inspire just one person to keep pushing forward, to not give up, then everything I've been through has been worth it. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. That's an incredible story. Before we bring up our keynote speakers, I would like to recognize the Edison Elementary School Applied Skills for their beautiful artwork that we have displayed right here. And then also to LaShawn Walker for the winner on the front cover of the program. Thank you so much. Great stuff. So now I'd like to please welcome to the stage our keynote speakers, Jessica Witherspoon and Tony Puentes Magdalene.
Jessica has a strong passion in serving the disability community. She has a history of helping families and individuals who are on this bumpy roller coaster journey through life. This includes navigating through state services, school services, and community-based services. Currently, Jessica is a parent volunteer for the National Association for Down Syndrome. She was appointed by the governor to join the Governor's Council for People with Disabilities, is the parent lead for the region's very first Special Education Parent Advisory Council, which works on educating and empowering parents of students with disabilities. She is also a member of the City of Valparaiso's Disability Awareness and Inclusion Subcommittee. She volunteers countless hours in helping parents and individuals navigate through the resources available to enhance their quality of life. She is married and has 3 wonderful children with and without disabilities. Tony is known in her community as an advocate for individuals with disabilities and supports for parents navigating the systems to obtain services for their loved ones. She has 2 decades of experience with disability services, working with First Steps, About Special Kids, and InSource. She's currently serving as the Director of Waiver Services at Rhyme and Reason Ministry. Tony is passionate about removing barriers to accessing services and empowering every individual to reach their limitless potential. Tony's married to her best friend, and together they have raised 2 wonderful young men, one who has a diagnosis of autism. Tony is an avid runner and loves to use running as a metaphor for life. You get out of it what you put into it. Let's give a Hammond welcome to these 2 wonderful ladies.
Thank you so much, Elena, for that beautiful introduction. I'm a little short, so I have to bring this down. Tony and I are honored to be with you this morning. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us and to help the cause. Thank you to the City of Hammond, to the Mayor's Commission of Disabilities. Without all the hard work that you all put forth for today, we would not be here. So thank you all so much. We both come to you to share a bit about our journeys. We do this not for pity or sympathy, and instead as a means to share how we have made, we have shaped our test into our testimonies, okay? So I'm going to say that again just because I fumbled on my words. But we have made the test that we have dealt with in life, we have allowed that to become our testimonies. And so that has ultimately shaped the foundation on who we are today.
All right, Jessica's one of the few people that makes me feel tall, so I get to raise this a little bit. So my entrance into the world of disabilities started in 2001. So let's take a little journey back in time. In 2001, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Monsters, Inc., and Shallow Hell were the movies we were watching. Get the Party Started and I'm a Slave for You were playing on the radio. I was 23 years old, and I was pregnant with my second child. I was only 18 years old when I had my first son, so this time around I was going to do everything right? My husband and I had been married for a few years, and we tried very hard for 2 years for this pregnancy. And one day I was at work, and my OB called me and requested that I come into his office on my lunch hour. And I hung up the phone and I realized, wait a second, the doctor was calling me, not a nurse, not an aide, but the doctor, and I needed to come in that day. So something was going on. And basically what that ended up being is, you know those quad screens that they do when we're pregnant that are supposed to tell us whether or not we're having a healthy baby or not? That came back a little funky. It was showing a probability for a baby with Down syndrome. And it floors me now looking back on it, like what can a blood test tell you about quality of life, right? So we proceeded with our pregnancy because we already loved this baby and we didn't care about what a blood test said about him. We were ready to bring him into the world. And Chase was born via emergency C-section on November 28th of 2001. And maybe it was because of that prenatal testing, I was a little bit on high alert. So I was paying attention to everything. And it seemed like almost immediately, I recognized differences with him from his older brother. I remember when my oldest Damon was placed in my arms, and I remember him staring at me like right through my soul, like he had been waiting 9 months to meet me, just like I had been waiting for him. When they put Chase in my arms, he stared at the fluorescent lighting in the ceiling. I, again, was trying to do everything right, so I was attempted to breastfeed with him, and when I would hold him close to me, he would scream like I was killing him, like just this horrible, horrible scream. Could not even hold him. That first year or two, basically the only noises he made was to cry. And my older son, when he was a year old, you could have a full conversation with this kid. I mean, he would talk about the movies that he liked, and he could say his colors. And I look back at that now and think it was probably a little advanced, but it was such a stark contrast to what we were seeing with Chase. And during each well-child visit, we would express I would, because, I'm the mom. I would express my concerns, and our pediatrician would just dismiss it. At the 9-month mark, he was sitting up on his own, so he had met that milestone. He started walking at a year old, so he had met that physical milestone. But we got to about the 15-month mark, and we still weren't hearing any sounds, no purposeful sound, no words. Finally, at the 18-month mark, I was able to advocate enough to get a referral to First Steps. And he started First Steps when he was about 18 months old, and he's been receiving some kind of intervention ever since then. We received our official diagnosis when he was 34 months old, and that was for autism. After First Steps, Chase entered into the public school system. And after a lot of hard work on his part, his therapeutic team, a lot of advocacy on my part, and the belief of one amazing teacher, Chase was fully mainstreamed in our neighborhood elementary school. And that's another thing I would like people in the room to think about. If you are not a parent of a child with a disability, it probably just comes as a given that your child's going to go to their local school. They're going to get to go to school with their siblings, with the friends that they have on the street. But for those of us who are raising children with extra needs, sometimes it takes a little bit of work to get our kiddos in the school that they would normally go to if they didn't have a disability. And throughout the test of fighting through those systems we had to navigate, I learned everything that I could, and I started to share that knowledge with other parents and then professionals. Today, Chase is 23 years old. I tried to get him to come with me today, but when given the option to go to Grandma's or come here, he chose Grandma's, so that's where he's at. And the child who we were told would never talk, would never be independent, would never live on his own. Literally, a professional sat in my living room and said those words to my face. He graduated from high school in 2021 with a diploma. With the assistance of Voc Rehab, he has a part-time job. Shout out to Strack and Van Til, if anybody's here from Strack's. Thank you. He voted in the last presidential election. I've read stories of other families receiving an autism diagnosis and grieving the child that they thought they had. And I'm not sure why, but I never went through that process. I'm not saying I won't someday, I might still, who knows, but I have not gone through that process yet. Because to me, the word autism, it was a key that opened the doors to services. It was the key that allowed him to get the services that he needed and still needs to this day. It was the key that got us speech, occupational, and VBA services. Autism qualified him for the special education supports that he received that helped him thrive in school. Autism brought amazing therapists, educators, and other mama bears who are in the audience today into my circle. Autism led me to a fulfilling career where I can take everything I've learned over the last 23 years and make sure that no other family feels alone on this journey. autism's the reason I'm in front of you all this morning. I read a quote recently that said, "It's a powerful woman who can use her fire to light up the world instead of burning it down." And I feel like this perfectly describes the journey that Chase has brought me on. There have been many tests over this past 23 years, but those tests did not come from Chase. They came from the systems that we had to navigate. And instead of giving up and letting that fire burn down the world, we chose to find our version of happiness. And it may not look like what we thought, when we were trying to do everything right, but gosh dang it, it's beautiful. And speaking of powerful women who light up the world with their fire, I'm going to turn the mic over to my lovely friend Jessica.
Oh, thank you. That was very sweet. So my story is a little different. The first page of my testimony is, different from Tony's. The husband and I had been married for a few years. We had an older child who was 2. Decided to expand our family, and we actually did the prenatal testing that Tony referred to, all of which came out negative for me. And so I would find out at delivery that my son was born with Down syndrome. At the time of that, I had been working with the population, so I had been working with individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities already. So it was almost like a full circle, like, wow, I am now on this side. And so in addition to the Down syndrome, he was also born with some health complications as well. And so that was fine. Looking back at it now, though, I think it wasn't the diagnoses that overwhelmed me. It was more the delivery. So almost like Tony's story where, the information was shared on what they won't be able to do, what their limitations are, very upfront. And I had just delivered my child. And so I wondered, were sports going to be an option? Was he going to be able to walk, talk, go to school, and interact like his older sister? And so I had those concerns up front. Now, what I could have did was easily stay in that stuck position and not moved and just stayed in that phase, because that can easily, happen with how the diagnoses were delivered to me. In my case, I decided from that point on, I would create my version of happiness. And so what I did is, because I was already serving individuals with disabilities, I knew a little bit of information on services and resources. And so I knew some of the basics on how to advocate for my child from very early on. So we immediately started, therapy, first week of life. He was in therapies, and he's still in therapies now. And so, again, like Tony, I saw the diagnoses as simply the ticket to services, should services be needed. In our case, it were therapies. And so I also look at him as more than a diagnosis. I don't even see the diagnosis when I see him, and Down syndrome is quite visible. And so what we do is we see him as AJ. That is my son. And he brings so much more to the table than just Down syndrome. And so what I did is I began to network and connect with other parents. I was able to share some of the resources and knowledge that I had from my professional experience and help them just make it a tad bit easier when they were navigating the same journey. And so I would teach parents about resources and services, and eventually this is how I'd connect with Tony. And this is how, we are who we are today. I would also refer families to organizations that serve individuals with special needs or disabilities. And so, like Tony, the first few years of life were rough for us. Instead, we decided not to focus on that. Instead, let's get through one day at a time is how we looked at it. We no longer worried about the vacations or the sports in that moment. We instead focused on one day at a time, and that helped us to kind of move forward. We would later on find out that my child, besides the Down syndrome diagnoses and the medical complications, he also has a diagnosis of autism. So it's almost like the full package. And so it was, there were some challenging times where I would have to learn to find my voice, use it, and advocate for him. We did preschool. We are currently still in elementary now. He's in 4th grade. And I do feel like my professional career has been exactly where I needed it in that moment, because I was already in the field before having him. That helped me to learn about services, resources, and advocate for him to access those. And then I became a special education liaison once he entered preschool and kindergarten. And so that really helped me. And so who is he now? How is he now? So my son is 11. He is in 4th grade, as I said. He is very, very active. In fact, he can walk, talk, play the sports that I wondered and once questioned if he would be able to. He is in a fully inclusive school setting, meaning that he's with his grade level peers. He's in swim, baseball, cheer, choir, you name it, the kid's busy. In fact, I feel like a chauffeur because I'm running him around to different extracurriculars. And so he's had some quite good experiences. We also have learned to partner with community stakeholders and try to create ways, not just for my child, but just for people with disabilities in general. And so I have learned to, connect with partners and say, what can I do to help you help them, and create a safe place for that. So let's see, I'm getting the cue that it's time. Okay. So I say this all just to share that we would like to encourage parents and people with disabilities to find your voice. Don't be afraid to use it. Ask questions. You are your best advocate, or you are your child's best advocate. Diagnoses are nothing more than the key to services, should services even be needed. Don't get caught up in labels. You can easily stay in that stuck phase. It's okay to look beyond the label, and you should, in fact, because then they can distract you from finding your version of happiness. As a society, we should practice presuming competence, meaning that we should give individuals chances before assuming, that they're unable to. And that often happens with individuals with diagnoses similar to ours. And then I'll let you take over.
I have one more thing to say really quick. I'm going to take the mic back just for a second. So as Jessica and I were preparing for today, and I use that term very loosely because we are special needs mamas, but I told her, I was like, okay, if you have a chance to be in front of 300 people, what is one thing you want them to take away from today? And so just for the professionals in the room, I know Jessica just addressed the parents, but for the professionals in the room, couple words for you guys. So educators, presume competence, include our kids in your classrooms. Politicians, we vote. Our kids vote. We see you. Make sure that you are paying attention to our voting block. Medical professionals, listen to your patients. Listen to individuals with disabilities. Listen to their parents. Take our concerns seriously. And finally, employers. Give our kids a chance. My son is a dang hard worker, but I'm fearful without accessibility programs and services like Voc Rehab, he would not have the opportunity to show that he can work. So that's it. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Jessica and Tony. Fun fact, Tony and I actually went to high school together, so thank you for sharing your stories. Now, to read the proclamation, I'd like to welcome back to the stage Mayor Thomas M. McDermott, Jr.
Thank you, Melissa. What a great program. Thank you to everybody who participated. We appreciate it so much. Also, I would be remiss if I did not recognize the hardworking members of the Mayor's Commission on Disabilities. So if you don't mind, I'm going to go through each of them one by one and thank them for their participation in the board and in their participation for putting tonight's event together. We'll start with the board president, Matt Muta. Thank you very much, Matt. The board vice president, Elena Magalenes. The board secretary, Ernie Dillon. Board Member Joe Boguszowicz. Sorry, Joe, I try. I've known Joe for like 20 years and I still can't pronounce his name, so thank you for your work, Joe. Also, Gladys Hilliard. Thank you very much, Gladys, board member. Board member Laura Martin. Board member and great deacon and speaker and friend and worker in City Hall and board member, Aristine Buddy Fenney. Board member Tracy Lambert. And board member Kimberly Roberts. Thank you very much. Proclamation by the Honorable Thomas M. McDermott Jr., Mayor, City of Hammond, Indiana. I also want to thank our interpreter who's signing all of the words spoken today. I forgot her name, but I want to, Kiva. Thank you very much. Give it up for Kiva, everybody. And since we started using services like Kiva's, I try to talk slower because I feel bad when she tries to keep up with me, so I'm going to go slow and go through this proclamation. So, whereas the Mayor's Commission on Disabilities was organized to further the opportunities for employment and services of individuals living with a disability. Whereas the Commission has determined that the public be made aware of the need of accessible buildings, accessible services, and employment opportunities for individuals living with a disability. And whereas every person, regardless of their ability, has valuable strengths, infinite capacity to learn, and the potential to make important contributions to their local communities. And whereas it is imperative that the public be made aware of the achievements of individuals living with disabilities. And whereas families of people with developmental disabilities deserve our admiration and recognition for their caring commitment and ongoing support that are both essential to an independent and productive life. And whereas the Commission has determined the best way to raise the consciousness of the public is through a Disabilities Awareness Month. Therefore, I, Thomas M. McDermott Jr., as Mayor of the City of Hammond, hereby proclaim the month of March of 2025 as Disabilities Awareness Month in the City of Hammond, Indiana. I urge all citizens to be cognizant of the achievement and the needs of individuals living with disabilities. Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you, Mayor. Now it's the moment you all have been waiting for, the announcement of awards. Our first award is the Individual Adult Award, and that goes to Lavance Corderio Rico Lamal. Lavance Lamal, affectionately known as Rico, is a Special Olympics swimmer. Rico taught himself to swim at the age of 6 years old. He was discovered by the Special Olympics when he was 12 in New Orleans, Louisiana. After Hurricane Katrina, Rico and his family relocated to Northwest Indiana. In spite of Rico being diagnosed with autism, he was resilient and continued making great strides. Rico has done great things to enhance his life. Rico worked at the Goodwill store and was awarded Employee of the Month. Rico went on to work at the Times newspaper. Rico currently competes in the 50-yard freestyle competition and the 50-yard backstroke and the relay race with the Special Olympics. He is the recipient of 19 gold medals, 22 silver medals, and 8 bronze medals. One thing is for sure, Rico is a champion. Our next award goes to the Individual Adult Award, Douglas Leday Sr. Nominated by Carolyn Lewis, Douglas Leday Sr. is a volunteer extraordinaire. Douglas has volunteered to cut his neighbor's Carolyn's grass, take out the garbage, help with groceries, and shovel snow while her husband was very sick. He visits his friends and neighbors while they're in the hospital. You can often see Douglas pushing his lawnmower throughout the community to cut lawns for his elderly neighbors. He is a neighborhood volunteer watch. The community is blessed to have such an awesome person that shows so much love and dedication for his neighbors and community. And if you ever drive by Detroit and Jackson Avenue, you will be greeted with a wave and a hey now by Douglas Leday Sr. Thank you. Congratulations. Our youth award goes to Emma Arnold. Nominated by Jacqueline Brabs and Olivia Taskoff from Hammond Academy of Science and Technology. Emma is a senior and special education student at HAST with good grades and a GPA of 3.2. Emma is the first female student from HAST to be accepted into the welding program at the Area Career Center. She has competed in several competitions and was recently accepted into the Boilermakers Union and has received her OSHA certification. Emma helps organize activities for her senior class of 2025 and works at Cracker Barrel in Hammond. In her downtime, Emma helps middle school students with reading intervention and collaborative learning. Everyone at HAST appreciates all she does to promote learning. Emma has an unwavering commitment to community services, exceptional leadership skills, and positive impact on her peers and community. Congratulations, Emma. Our Youth Volunteer Award goes to Drake Bellard. Nominated by Patty Barth and Christina Tucker, School City of Hammond. Drake is an athlete at Purdue Northwest. Skills for Life students were participating in a vocational internship at the PNW Fitness Center where they met Drake. Drake became interested in volunteering with students with disabilities. Drake then became an intern with the Skills for Life program at the Area Career Center. He has had a positive impact on students and staff. He consistently exceeds expectations, willingly coming in on additional days off and dedicating himself wholeheartedly to his work. Drake is an exceptional young man that actively engages in making a difference in the lives of students and community. Congratulations, Jake. Our business award goes to Salvador Reyes, Francisco Carrillo from First Choice Fresh Market. Nominated by Patty Barth from School City of Hammond. Francisco has demonstrated exceptional commitment to the community by partnering with the School City of Hammond's vocational internship program. This partnership has provided students with substantial disabilities the opportunity to develop essential life skills in the real-world setting. The students have gained valuable work experience while Mr. Carrillo has demonstrated his dedication to enriching the lives of young individuals with disabilities. Mr. Carrillo's leadership and personality have been a profound impact on those around him. His love for the Hammond community and his commitment to making a positive difference are truly inspiring. Congratulations, Francisco and Salvador. The next award is Innovators to the Special Needs Community. It goes to Ruby Perry, nominated by LaBertha Lamel. Mrs. Ruby Perry is mother of two. Mrs. Ruby Perry is the mother of two adult twin sons whom have autism. She is very involved in the special needs community. Even when Mrs. Perry wasn't in the best of health, she still pressed on to give her sons a good and loving life. She recently started an initiative called Parade of Talents. This event is 4 times a year to showcase the gifts and talents of individuals with disabilities. All of the guests at her events enjoy a meal, live entertainment, and experience the talents of the special needs community. Due to her amazing work in the Innovation to the Special Needs Community Award was created. Mrs. Perry is a beacon of light in the community. Congratulations, Mrs. Ruby Perry. Our Charles Nagy Jr. Award goes to Matthew Ream. Nominated by Roman White. In December 2023, Matthew was driving down I-94 in the fog when he swerved off the overpass. Matthew was trapped fighting for his life in his mangled vehicle under a bridge for 6 days. Rainwater and hope kept him alive. 2 fishermen found him trapped and called for help. The accident resulted in the loss of Matt's left leg. His story of survival has had an impact on people from all over the world. Matt now uses his influence to inspire people in sharing his journey of mental and physical wellness. Matt recently released a memoir called Still Standing, The 7 Miracles of Matthew Ream. Matthew has made it a mission to help others. Congratulations, Matthew. Now for our Mayor's Commission on Disabilities Distinguished Honorary Award goes to Don Kalina Jr. Nominated by Lieutenant Mickey and Chief Short. Following in 20 years of his father's footsteps of service to the community, the name Donnie Kalina Jr. has been synonymous with Hammond's EMA since the late 1990s. If you are a first responder in the city of Hammond, you understand the significance of scene control and containment, whether it is a structure fire or a violent crime. Donnie is always the first to arrive. In 2007, Donnie became a member of the Lake County Hazmat Team, which is made up of firefighters, police officers, and EMA personnel from all over Lake County. Donnie also volunteers for many boards, coordinating with police and fire on any of our requests for events like National Night Out or Fire Prevention Month. The Charles Nagy Jr. Award is an award that recognizes someone with the spirit and determination to overcome obstacles, someone that leads a productive life with service for their community. We think it's fair to say that Donnie Kalina Jr. fits this definition. You see, Donnie does more than what we were able to list today, but the best part about him is he doesn't ever complain. He just does more, and he does it all with one arm. Donnie was born with one working arm due to an injury at birth, and he will physically outwork anyone on any scene, tossing cones or running the hose. The officers of the Hammond Police Department have relied on him for many years, for many reasons, and will continue to do so as long as he allows us the privilege. Congratulations, Donnie Kalina Jr. So thank you to all of our award winners. At this time, I would like to dismiss the vendors to their spots, and if we could have all the award winners come back up to the front stage for a picture, that would be great. So thank you all for attending. Thank you, Mayor McDermott. Thank you, Mayor's Commission on Disabilities, for hosting this wonderful event. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.